Hey guys, how you doing? I miss you all so much. I was so bummed to hear that we're not going back to school this year. But maybe this summer we'll have to get together, or after school starts next year when you guys are all going to be big fifth graders and not in my room anymore. But I wanted to hop on and go over a couple things with you guys because this week we are working on division and y'all loved it so much. Now, I remember at the beginning of the year when we first started division, you guys were all like, no, I can't do this. And then we tried some tricks and we worked through some things together and you guys started doing so much better. So I know it's been a while. We use it here and there, but we haven't done like a whole week just on division for a long time. So I wanted to do some review with you guys this week so your brains don't turn to mush on me, okay? So when we do division, remember we had that saying that we use that helps us remember which steps to do. So the saying that we do when we do our division problems is, do you remember? Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? So I do want you to get in the habit this week of writing your cheat at the top of your page. Do not try to do the division problems in your head. It's not going to work. Some of you are going to be like, wow, I'm at home. Let me have mom and dad help me. Let me use a calculator. Guys, your remainders are not going to come out right if you do it on a calculator because it's going to give you a number like this. You're going to be like, 7.6, 7 remainder 6. Nope, it's not right, and it's going to be a dead giveaway to me that you used a calculator. Just do it pencil paper like you're supposed to, because of what happens when you get into 5th grade and you have to do these in the classroom for real. You're going to be like, oh, I don't remember how to do any of these. Man, I wish I would have paid attention. Miss St. John was helping us. So, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? And remember, our D stands for our first step. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, and then bring down, okay? So let's jump into our first problem. We might have a problem like 543 divided by 3. Remember, we are never going to solve a problem when it looks like this. It does not work out. Even as a math teacher, I'm not going to solve a division problem like this. So I need to do 543. I need to change it to the right format. Divided by 3. Okay, so I look at my first step. How many times does 3 divide into 5? So if we count by 3s, how many times do we count by 3 until we hit that 5? Well, 3, 6, I've gone too far already. So it only goes in one time. Remember, it can't go over. So I divided. Put my number on the top. This is where my answer is going to end up. Then I multiply the number I just wrote times my front number. 1 times 3 is, write it down below, 3. Let's look at our next step. We have subtract. So we have 2 numbers stacked. Let's subtract them. 5 minus 3 is 2. Check. We check, is 2 less than 3? If it is, that means we're good to go to our next step. If 2 was not less than 3, if we had a larger number here, or if it was equal to 3, that means that this number right here is incorrect, and we could have actually counted up higher. Some of you got into a bad habit of saying, yep, I checked 5 minus 3 is 2. I'm not checking your subtracting, because you should be good at subtracting, but I'm checking, is this number smaller than your front number, okay? 2 is less than 3, so let's go to our last step, bring down. I bring down this 4. Now, I'm not done. My answer is not 24, my answer is not 1. I have 3 numbers right here, which means I do these steps 3 times. So I've gone through it once, and now I'm going to go back to the top. I'm going to go to the top of my cheat. I'm going to go back to the top of my division problem. So now I'm going to say, how many times does 3 go into 24? I brought that 4 down to my new number is 24. So how many times does 3 go into 24? Well, let's count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. We hit right on it. So how many was that? 8. So my next step is to multiply. 8 times 3 is, we just counted, guys. We know it is 24. Subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. Check. Is 0 less than 3? Of course. And then bring down. I bring down this last digit. I like to put these arrows to help me keep my things nice and organized. Some of you guys did well with the grid paper as well. Unfortunately, I can't give you grid paper since we're not together, but you could make yourself a little grid if you wanted. and do it that way. You could use Line's notebook paper and then just draw the up and downs to make a grid. Or ask mom or dad, they might have grid paper that you could use. So let's go back to the top. How many times does 3 divide into 3? Well, if I count by threes, 3 takes me 1 time to hit it. Multiply, 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract, 3 minus 3 is 0. Check, is 0 less than 3? Yes. Is there anything else to bring down? No. And this one doesn't even have a remainder because my ending number is 0. So my answer is 181. So 543 divided by 3 equals 181. Nice job. Okay, let's try another one together. I'm keeping my cheat at the top. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. And I'm just putting my new problem on my page. So 645 divided by 4. So our first step is divide. How many times is 4 divided into 6? Let's count by 4s. 4, 8, went too far. So it only goes in 1 time. Multiply. 1 times, oops, a little bigger. I'm struggling with my multiplication sign. Whoops, okay. 1 times 4 is 4. And now we subtract. 6 minus 4 is 2. And now we check. Is 2 less than 4? Yes, it is. So that means we can go to our last step and bring down this 4. And the new number we have is 24. So let's go back to the top of our directions. And we divide. How many times does 4 divide into 24? Let's count. 4, 8, 12, and 16, 20, 24. We hit right on the money. Right on 24, it was 6. So now multiply. 6 times 4 is 24. And now let's subtract. 24 minus 24 is 0. Check, is 0 less than 4? Sure is. So now we bring down my last digit, which is a 5. Back to the top. How many times does 4 go into 5? 4, 8, too far, so it only goes in 1 time. If we count by 4s, we only need to count 1 time or else we've gone too far and we've gone past the number 5. So let's look at multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. Subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Check, is 1 less than 4? It is. So that means we're going to bring down our next number, but we don't have another number. We're not finished. Our last problem we ended with a 0 down here. This one doesn't have a 0. So this 1 becomes our remainder. 161, remainder 1. Now, some of you may take it a step further. If you remember when we were doing fractions, this is a correct answer, but you could also write your remainder as a fraction. So you could do 161 and 1 out of 4. So it's 161 and a fourth. So either of these would be great answers. This one has a remainder as a whole number. This one has it as a fraction. So what this tells us, if I had 645 pencils and I was dividing them up between 4 classrooms, each classroom would get 141 pencils and there would be 1 pencil left over. If I split it between those 4, you'd each get 1/4 of a pencil. You're going to take my pencil, break it into 4 pieces. Now we're just going to have 1 pencil left over that we couldn't divide evenly amongst everyone else. Okay, we're going to do one last problem, and this is the one that you guys get stuck on. So let's look here. I have 328 divided by 7. And it looks the same, but when we do that first step, we're like, oh, I don't know what to do. So how many times does 7 go into 3 when we divide? Well, if I start counting 7, I've already passed it. So it does not go in at all. 0 times, okay? So now I'm going to multiply. 7 times 0 is 0. Subtract, I get 3. 3 is less than 7. And I'm going to bring down this 2. So now I'm going to count by 7s to see how many times does 7 go into 32. Some of you here, you get mixed up and you're like, oh, 7 doesn't go into 2 at all. I'm going to put a 0. It goes into 8 1 time. My answer is 1. So if I have 328 notebooks and I divide them up amongst 7 classes, each class gets 1 notebook? No. Okay, so let's take it back to where we were. We have 32 when we finished subtracting right here. So how many times does 7 go into 32? Well, let's check. 7, 14, 21. Come and see what I can do. 28, 35. Well, we've passed it, so it's going to go in 4 times. So, multiply. 4 times 7 is 28. 32 minus 28. Well, we can borrow here. 12 minus 8 is 4. So we have 4 left over here, okay? Is 4 less than 7 when we check? Yes, it is. So now let's bring down this 8. Okay, one last step, back to the top. How many times does 7 go into 48? Well, let's count again. 7, 14, 21. Come and see what I can do. 28, 35, 42. Easier than ABC. 49. Oh, we've passed it by just a little bit, so we're only going to stop at 6. And 6 times 7 was 42. We subtract and we get 6. So our answer is going to be 46, remainder 6. Remember, if you want to write it as a fraction, this is a completely perfect A+ answer. But if you want to write it as a fraction instead, you would write 46. Your remainder goes on top, and your denominator is your number out front. 46 and 6/7. So if we had those, when I say books, I think, and we divided them up amongst 7 classes, we had 328 books. Each class would get 46 books, and we would have 6 books left over that we couldn't hand out because we had 7 classrooms, and they wouldn't all get an equal one. So try those division facts. Remember, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Right at the top of your page, just so you can check yourself. You might even want to get a little paper clip or a little scrap of paper to move along so you know that you're keeping up with those. And let me know how you're doing on your division this week, guys.